Welcome to episode 16, the Peja Stojakovic episode of the Blasting Basketballs podcast. I'm your host, Steve Gino, joined by co-host Tom Harito. Welcome back, Tom. It's been a little while.
It has been, yep. Been
Uh,
couple
before
months.
we get, yeah,
Couple months, right? Like,
yeah, it has been. So
yeah.
before we get started, I just want to say that there's not many number 16s in NBA history. Like when I was thinking about the show, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to think of a number 16. I was like, I couldn't think of one honestly, so I had to look it up. Oh, Peja Stojakovic.
I didn't know this was the 16th episode, so this is like off the top of my head, but do you know if Ben McLemore is number 16? I feel like he is.
I think he is actually, but
he's
like
either 16 or 18.
He's kind of an unknown player.
He is, but when he got, I feel like I brought him up on this pod before, but I rocked with him like when he was about to get drafted. I thought he was about to be good, but yeah, he is kind of an unknown. I mean, he's still on the Rockets, but that's like the only number 16 I can think of.
I thought he was going to be pretty good too. I mean, he had the skill set.
I think he went top 10. I mean,
what do you think went wrong?
Or maybe was he 7?
He was definitely up there.
Yeah, he was in the lottery for sure.
What do you think went wrong with his career?
Just maybe a lack of effort. I mean, he's still in the league today, so that might not be the case. But I feel like some guys who get drafted in the first round, they get that guaranteed money, so they kind of just kick back a little bit, not go as hard as they used to.
Maybe saying that it went wrong is a little too harsh because he is still in the league. But people expected him to be like a Bradley Beal type guy or something along those lines. So
yeah, he's still kind of a nobody, and his prime I'd say is maybe over at this point.
Yeah, the casual fan wouldn't really know who he is.
Definitely not.
But yeah, anyways, that's enough.
Ben
McLemore talk. But
took way too long.
Yeah, before we actually jumped into the basketball aspect, I just kind of want to talk about we're kind of nearing the end of COVID. It feels like it that way. And we're kind of reaching a point where vaccination is becoming widespread. Tom, you actually had COVID, so if you don't mind explaining your experience with it and how the recovery process was and how it affected you and your family.
I got COVID and lost all my taste and shit, or excuse me, all my taste and sense of smell, and I had a bad fever too. So it was it wasn't the worst fever I've ever had, but it was still a fever. And I mean, my lungs, maybe not just my lungs, but my heart, my health in general, it's not the greatest. I'm not a fitness junkie or anything like that, but getting COVID made me realize how much your health really matters. So yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that I'm still here, and I'm okay now. I can taste, I can smell, I can run, I can do everything I did before. But yeah, it definitely wasn't a fun time at all. I mean, that goes without saying, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you're okay too. And how long did the effect of losing your taste and smell last?
Maybe a week and a half.
I wonder what that felt like.
Dude, it was so weird. It was so weird, bro. All you could taste, or all I could taste was it was nothing at first, and then faint metal. It tasted like metal, anything I ate at all. And the smell, it was almost like blood. If you've ever tasted blood.
That's what I think blood tastes like. It tastes like metal.
Yeah, that's what it was like. It was metallic type.
It tastes like a fence. I don't know why I know what a fence tastes like, but that's what blood tastes like.
Yeah, because it's all rusty and all that. So yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, it was not a good time, bro. Definitely not a good time.
I'm glad you're okay though.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Plus, it sucks that you got it at the time where vaccination is becoming more common. So it was kind of bad timing too to last minute almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, we're definitely not at the end of COVID, but it kind of feels like we're getting to a point where like normalcy is around the corner. Like it's been a year now, almost. It's been over a year actually. And like
Hmm.
yeah, it just feels like we aren't confined to our homes as much as we were before, and it just feels like there's something in the air where it's like things are actually getting back to normal somewhat. Um, and you can see that in the NBA. This is kind of a good segue into the NBA. Like you can see it with fans coming back to arenas. I know the Celtics brought back like was it like 2,800 fans, like close to 3,000 fans.
Hmm. And to add to that,
Yeah,
NFL said that they expect to have full stadiums when their season starts. So I mean,
yeah. I'm
that's
wondering
not a
if
step in the right way, then, or if that doesn't show that we're going in the right way, then I don't know what does, because that'd be pretty miraculous, honestly.
yeah, and I do want to give a special shout out to like the 500,000 people in the U.S. or even more than that that died due to COVID. I mean, that's just hard to fathom. Almost like
Such a weird, just such a weird thing, bro.
it's a
Like,
really high number of people.
it's a mystery. Like, do you even like? I honestly couldn't tell you myself, but where did what did COVID come from? I know
I,
where it came from, but like, what did it come from? What was like the source? Like,
I think there actually is evidence that I came from bats.
a la- I thought it came from a lab. That's what I'm hearing in the news, and that's what I originally thought myself. Is that it was like created in a lab, and it's like it was meant to like harm people. Like that's why it was created. But
Jeez.
I don't know, man.
That's so messed up.
Yeah, I know. That's like war. Like you're asking for war with that type of shit. So, or
And
sorry,
like
I didn't mean to curse, but
worldwide too, like what are the numbers? Is it like a few million for
I
death?
couldn't even tell you.
It's
Couldn't
just
even tell you.
crazy because even in the U.S., over 500,000 is a crazy number. Like,
And we don't
geez.
know the long term effects of this or how. I mean, it's
Yeah,
such a mystery.
unfortunately, like you had COVID and like you're not exactly sure what the effects are going to be for you like 10 years down the line, like stuff like that. Like it's tough. But yeah, I feel like I talk about COVID so much. Like I feel like I've had like 1,000 COVID conversations in the past year. So
Yeah, it's
yeah, I
not.
guess it's enough
Yeah,
COVID talk for you.
it should be. Yeah.
But yeah, like with fans
Uh,
returning to arenas, I guess like one of the biggest factors with like the NBA is like this season just felt kind of weird to me. Like I don't know about you, but watching
it flew
games,
by. It flew by, or it is flying by completely. I
like I
feel
don't
like
know if you feel the same way, but the bubble felt it didn't feel as bad as these regular games do, like in the actual arenas. Like for some reason the bubble felt like kind of refreshing. I don't know why, but like just seeing these empty seats in the stadiums is like almost depressing. I don't know if you feel that way too, but
I haven't really noticed it, honestly. I mean, I kind
I
of got
guess
used to this point.
I guess it's just because like there's not enough like energy, you know? Like you kind of just feed off the energy that the fans give, even if you're watching it on like television. Like the players especially, like sure you know that the game's televised like nationwide, but it's hard to like get yourself up and like dive on the floor and stuff when like nobody's really watching you, you know? So I feel like we've seen that a lot with like teams like the Heat or the Celtics or who else? There's another team that hasn't really played that well this season. Uh, who else?
I'm
The
trying to think.
Raptors. The Raptors.
Oh yeah, they've had a
Yeah,
tough.
there's a
They've had
few teams that
a
just
tough year.
haven't played like up to their standards or what we expected of them, and I do think a big factor in that is they have like rowdy fan bases, and I think that kind of helps push them over the edge in terms of being able to win games in the clutch. So I do think that there's a lot of teams around that like 500 level that I think in a regular season without COVID, they wouldn't really be at that point that they're underachieving. How do you feel about that?
I kind of agree because I think maybe if fans were still like around, um, maybe a team like the Suns wouldn't have as big of an advantage because they're so used, like they're home. They're doing great this year, and I want to talk
Mhm.
about them later.
Yeah.
But their home court, like they usually have no fans at all, like ever, right? Like that. I feel like that's pretty well known. Um,
Mhm.
that the Suns fans just never show up, or they're like one of the least. Um, I don't even know what the word is, but the least amount of fans like go to their games pretty much, and like maybe they wouldn't have the best road record if fans were still around. You know what I mean? Because I think they have the best road record in the league. So that probably affected a team like them for the better, while other teams like the Raptors, who had to move to play their games in Tampa, which I think also hurt them. It just affected these teams in like different ways, I'd say. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
agree. It
mentioned that
has had an effect.
you have to move away from the city that you play in to play for
Yeah,
this. Just
yeah, that's why I feel like the Raptors just never got it going, along with the fact that maybe their team just isn't that good. But yeah, playing their games in Tampa just doesn't seem right for them. Like they just haven't been like that good. Their record, what is their record? It's like
yeah, I think they're a few games below
well
500.
below. Yeah, I was gonna say well below 500. So yeah, it's definitely not
It's just
affecting them
surprising.
or not helping them. Yeah.
I guess those three teams are the biggest ones that I've noticed that effect of no fans: the Raptors, the Celtics, and the Heat.
No, but the Celtics fans were there recently.
Yeah, they have
They
been there
they
recently.
were when they were booing their own team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like
I had to bring
maybe
that up.
maybe it also has to do with the roster construction for the Celtics. It just kind of feels like they're confused about what they want to do. Do they want to develop their young guys or do they want to win now? Like we kind of have a mix of young and old.
I
So it,
think I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like the moves that they made at the deadline.
deadline.
Cornette was a good addition.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
glad you like Cornette. I thought you were gonna crap on him,
no,
honestly.
no, no, no. Cornette, he might be the second best big on the team. Like,
He's actually really impressive. His like verticality, like when he's defending in the paint, is like really good.
nah, he was. I knew he was good on the Bulls too. He was like low key on the Bulls, but they just were so bad that no one paid attention. But
He
Cornette was a
didn't play
great
much.
addition, I gotta say. No,
He
he
didn't
played.
play
He was
much
he
on
was
the Bulls.
he was a rotation player for them, like when he was there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't think he played like a lot though. I think he only
no,
had like
he had minutes. He was a role guy, so I'd I'd say he was like a piece for them.
yeah. I guess we did get a good haul for Daniel Tice.
But yeah, that was for it was just Mo Wagner straight up, right? I think.
No, I think it was both Cornette and Wagner or Wagner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How do you say his
I
name?
thought they claimed Fournette, but
Oh,
I might be wrong.
might have
I
been the
might be
trade.
wrong. Yeah, but
Uh, yeah. We,
Wagner,
mhm.
just he's bigger than Tice, which is why I feel like they went after him, and he's younger, so
Yeah.
not kind of feel neutral about that. I like the Fournier edition for 2 second rounders. I mean,
Yeah,
pretty.
we definitely needed that. The Celtics don't need like another like superstar. They just kind of needed a guy that can like provide a spark, especially off the bench, because it's just kind of tough where the Celtics don't have enough scoring sometimes to kind of get them over the hump. So
Yeah,
I think a nice,
Fournier. You wouldn't think it, but he's 6'7". Like,
really
yeah, he's 6'7". He's
6'7".
pretty big. Yeah, he's
Wow.
not he's not
Yeah,
a
he,
little guy.
he doesn't look 6'7".
Yeah, I know. I thought he was like 6'4". I could have sworn he was like 6'4", but then I remember seeing 6'7". I was like, what? But yeah, he's a scorer. He averages 20 a game. Anytime you can trade 2 second rounders to get a guy who averages 20, I say you make that trade every time. So props to Danny for getting that done, honestly.
He's
Um,
definitely a streaky scorer. Like he's not going to be like super consistent all the time, but like
but that's because he was on a team like the Magic, and they really don't have any. They didn't have anyone other than Vucevic who they traded to. Like they were
yeah,
just
they're
not a good team, but he
they
still
moved
put
the
up
team.
numbers. So now the Celtics are definitely better than the Magic. So he has more pieces around him to like free him up. So I think that was just a great move, like all around. One of the better moves of the deadline, I'd say.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up the Suns though, because I was actually going to mention that they're kind of flying under the radar. I mean, they're at the top of the West right now. I think they're the second seed.
Yeah, they're second.
And you actually mentioned like last year, like how you thought the Suns and the Sixers were going to be like really good this season. So I'll
I
give you
did.
props for that.
Thank you. Yep. I mean, I was on the Suns like even before the CP3 trade. Like you can go back. We had an
Yeah,
episode about like
you
the
were.
bubble, and I said I wanted the Suns even before the bubble started. When they went 8-0 in the bubble, I'm taking my victory lap right now, so just be aware. But um, like before the bubble, before they went 8-0, I was like, yo, like I want the Suns to make the playoffs because I like that team. Um, just one of the few teams I really enjoy watching. Like, I mean, I enjoy watching every team, but like every time I watch the Suns, they were fun, like every time. So yeah, I mean,
Why
look
do you
where
think it
they're now.
is that they kind of fly under the radar, like especially
Because
with
the
like casual?
Suns, they have literally no fans. Like
Yeah.
no one cares about the Suns. They've been bad for so long. They were like the joke of the league, and now's their time. Like they're the CP3 trade. When I saw that, I was like, oh my god, like no way. Like I couldn't believe that it actually happened. But
Yeah. I feel like
it makes
especially
sense
if they
because
make
Monty used to be CP3's coach, like when they were in New Orleans, so they had that like connection. So yeah, it's crazy, honestly, how everything turned out, or how things have turned out so far. They look really good. Um, number two in the West, that's not an easy task. So yeah.
yeah, the Suns and the Jazz both not really expected to be like at the top of the conference, but
I have a theory about the Jazz that I think is interesting. I think that they're doing so well in like right now in the regular season because they were motivated since they had that like image of Gobert like spreading COVID, like, and people knew about the beef that he had with Mitchell and stuff. So like because that he like gave everyone COVID and whatnot, and Mitchell was not happy about that. And since everyone knew about that, that kind of like made them closer, like as a unit. So they like worked harder, to not be like the joke of the league in that regard. You know what I mean?
yeah, it kind of feels like after that COVID thing happened, they had like a really bad reputation and they might have felt like
Motivation.
the scapegoat of the league or something, and they were like, you
Exactly.
know what, we're gonna turn that into motivation, you know. So,
Yeah, that's what I think. I
well, they
think
also do have a really good team. I really
I
like
think
the roster.
Conley's had a great year.
Yeah, I think the Conley
Well,
edition
first
wasn't that
half of
great
the year.
last year. Like
What?
last year you didn't really see Conley's impact, but this year they're starting to really get it together. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the fact that they blew the 3-1 lead
yeah,
to
I was
the
gonna say that.
they definitely had motivation from that too.
It was
And
crazy.
almost hitting a buzzer beater.
They lost it at the buzzer. Like they
Yeah.
almost won.
Yeah. So they definitely were feeling some type of way after that. But I want to say too that they kind of remind me of the Bucks from last year. Kind of fraudulent, if
Yeah,
I
there's like
have to
always
say.
that there's always that one regular season team that does really well, and then
Mhm.
once it gets to the playoffs, you realize that they don't have enough star power
Yeah.
because the
I mean,
playoffs really is all about star power.
yeah.
Who has the better
They
stars?
do. The Jazz do have a kind of, I don't, what's the word? I was gonna say bona fide, but like I don't know how to apply that. I don't know, but they have some big names on their team. Like Mitchell's an upcoming superstar, maybe already is a superstar. Gobert, one of the best centers in the league. People don't give him enough credit to, but he is one of the best centers in the league. Um, or actually, you know what? A lot of players say Gobert is actually easy to score on. Like
He seems kind of slow.
he said that, yeah, because he can't guard the perimeter. I guess I don't know. It's
I think
interesting.
Kevin Durant said that.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. But yeah, I mean, they Bogdanovich, pretty solid player. I mean, he could have been an all-star last year, and Conley too. Like those are four like pretty big names, I'd say. And then they got guys like Clarkson adding. to their team too.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I just don't think they can keep it up like when it matters the most. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I do think that it comes down to who has the best like couple players, and
Hmm.
it's tough after Mitchell because Mitchell is a superstar, but like after Mitchell, it's like Gobert, Conley,
I
they're
don't know.
good.
I feel like Gobert might be more important, but
Than Mitchell.
maybe
Well, just in terms
maybe
of like defense, but to actually,
even on offense, like he can pretty much cram over anyone.
yeah, he's a good post player. Uh, I don't think that'll win you a playoff series, but it'll
I
it'll.
don't know. I don't know. It seems like the league's moving towards like more size.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've seen that too, where bigs have become more like prominent now.
Back
Uh,
to the old ways, I'd say.
but
It
if I
seems
was gonna pick between Mitchell or Gobert, it'd be Mitchell. I think
that's
Mitchell's really good.
it. It's a. I mean, they're two completely different players, so it's tough. But I could see why you'd say Mitchell. Like, I'm not really. I don't really have a big argument against that. But
Yeah, his play style is awesome too. A lot of people say he reminds them of Dwayne Wade. So
yeah, yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah,
yeah,
Shaq tried like he tried like giving him like tough love. I think trying to motivate him, but it really looked like he just tried like sunning him. I don't know if
yeah.
you remember that. It
Mitchell
wasn't
is
too
super
long
young.
ago.
Yeah, I did see that. Mitchell's
Yeah,
really young, so like he
yeah,
has.
he's
I think he's gonna. I think he'll win one. I
a
think he's good.
ring. I don't know. I think there's too many good players, like too many better players. I think like that should win a ring before him. Like Luca, still, they're nowhere near um a like rings or championship like contention status, but you still would think that Luca should win a ring before Mitchell. So it's kind of like I
Yeah,
don't know, it's tough.
if I was a
There's a
team
lot
in
of
the West though, like if I saw the Mavs, I'd be afraid, honestly, just because Luca can win a game by himself like at any point. So like
yeah, he can win a game, but is he gonna win a series?
yeah, that's he can take like 2 games from you, like we saw with the Clippers last year. He took 2 games from them. But yeah, you can't really win a series by yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Hold up, I got a text. Yeah, all right, sorry, but
well, so how do
yeah,
you feel
what were we
about
just about?
how do you
Sorry.
feel about the parity in the NBA right now? Like, do you think the Nets have like a really overwhelming team, or are you not agreeing with all the hype?
I think the Nets. I mean, come, bro, Kyrie, maybe the best point guard in the league. He's. I think. I don't know, man. I think he might be the best point guard in the league.
I
Um.
would I would say he's the most skilled player of all time.
Okay. You know what? That's that's interesting. That's interesting.
I can't think of anybody that's more skilled than him, to be honest.
A lot of people though, when they talk about like a lot of NBA players, when they bring up their top 5 lists, I know like I saw a live with like um Lou Will and Dion Waiters. And in their top 5 list, both of them had AI, but neither of them had Kyrie, even though they both played like with or against Kyrie. So
Yeah, I think that's personal
it,
preference.
yeah, so that's I think
But
yeah.
from what I've seen, I think Kyrie's better than AI. But
I never got to really watch AI in his prime, so I can't say. But if two NBA players are saying that, then
yeah,
I'd trust their judgment over mine if I'm
yeah,
being
I see what you're saying.
because their lists weren't bad either. I know Dion Waiters said he had KG in his list, and KG's one of my favorite players of all time. So he said Braun too. LeBron's in my top 5, no doubt. Who else did he say? He said Kobe. Kobe, I mean, everyone really says Kobe too. So who's the other one? I forget, but yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough to like compare like eras, I guess. I don't know. Were we talking about? Fuck.
Just
Were we
like the
talking about
parity in
Kyrie?
the league. Yeah.
Oh,
The,
okay, yeah.
Kyrie.
Sorry. Got sidetracked, OD. But yeah, no, yeah, we were talking about Kyrie, and you said he was the most skilled player. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There's nothing he can't do.
yeah,
He
he can lock up when he wants to
high level.
and score on anyone. So yeah, I mean, best point guard in the league, in my opinion, or one top three easily. I don't. Maybe you could say Steph's the best, but top three or maybe even two. And then KD, one of the best players of all time. James Harden, one of the best scorers of all time. Blake Griffin, who can still play. He just he wasn't like trying to showcase that in Detroit, which I don't blame him because he probably wasn't going to be there for that long anyway. And then getting LaMarcus Aldridge too, bro. Those are all five all stars. Like, not too different in age. Like, I mean, Aldridge is pretty old, but like the other four, they're pretty close in terms of age to each other. So it is tough. I mean, unless they have injuries, I don't see why they shouldn't make the finals, in my opinion.
I really don't like how Griffin just chose not to play hard in Detroit, though. Like, I don't know, you're kind of doing the fans dirty at that point.
Yep.
Like, if
But
I was a Detroit fan, I'd be like, all right, dude, like, get out of town. Like, what?
yeah, I agree. I mean, he dunked once
It's so messed
this
up.
year, and then he starts his first game with Brooklyn. His first bucket with Brooklyn was a dunk.
That's actually hilarious.
I know. It's crazy. And he stared down. It was against the Pistons, I'm pretty sure. That was his first game with the Nets. And after he dunked, he like stared down the freaking bench, Detroit's bench. Like, oh my God. What an asshole. It's funny though. Definitely funny.
Yeah, I feel like people are really hyping up the additions of LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. I
Oh,
definitely don't think they're like they're not players like that are gonna like get you over the hump. I feel like. How do you feel about that?
I kind of disagree. If they stay healthy.
Maybe I think Aldridge
No
is
team, bro. Literally, bro, Aldridge is a center. Blake Griffin's a 4. KD's a 3. Harden's a 2. Kyrie's a 1. That's just a perfect starting lineup
I think at
for
this
what
point,
you can do.
Aldridge is definitely more impactful than Griffin is.
But I think Blake's still impactful. Like, he just wasn't trying at all when he was with the Pistons. Like, he just didn't care.
Yeah, that's such a tough thing to talk about because, like, if you're hiding how well you can play, then I really can't tell you how good you are. Because all I know is how he played in Detroit, and like from what I saw there, it's like, eh.
But it's the fact that he didn't dunk at all. He didn't record a single dunk, and then his first bucket with the Nets is a dunk. Like, I think that just shows you like what that shows you like how he could just turn it on, like if he really wanted to, which I think he will. Now that he's on a good team. He's chasing for a ring. Harden is, Aldridge is, so
Yeah, if there's one guy I want to see get a ring, it's James Harden.
And Russ. I want to see Russ get a ring.
I don't think he's going to end up getting one, honestly.
Dude, Russ has been a problem. Not to sidetrack again, or maybe we can just talk about Russ, but he's been on a freaking mission, dude.
Yeah.
His latest one of the craziest milestones still, like he made another one. It was like a 20 and 20, or what was it? 40-20 triple double or something. Or he has, I don't even know. It was the first something. I can't believe it's slipping my mind right now. I think it was the first 20-20 triple double, 20 points, 20 assists. Which, say what you want to say about whether he's winning or his team's winning or not, like, that's crazy to do. I don't care at all.
Mm-hmm. I think I've seen this argument where like Stephen A. Smith was like, "We know you can put up numbers, but like,
dude, I don't
win a championship."
I haven't listened to Stephen A. Smith in so long, bro. Like I haven't heard anything from that guy in or consumed any of that content in so long, bro. Like, oh
Yeah,
my
it's
god,
the clickbait.
that's all it is. That's he's just trying to stir stuff up. He's like paparazzi, bro. Like I don't know. What I do see from Russ is just a dog. Like one of one of the most electric players ever. And I mean, I would have loved to see him. I would have loved to see the Celtics trade for him. That probably would have made me a Celtics fan again if they found some way to trade for Westbrook because the Wizards aren't doing anything this year. But it is what it is. He's on a terrible team and can't really do much other than put up crazy numbers. So I kind of feel for him in that aspect.
Yeah, and I've said before that I don't think rings define how great you are as a player. Like I think people that judge off rings are just more on the casual side than like people that really appreciate the game, you know? Because like a lot of my favorite players are probably never going to win a ring, but like I still enjoy watching them a lot. So like it's just tough when the only thing you can talk about is rings. It just makes the argument so bad. Like I think Michael Jordan, he's great, but like the 6-0 argument is like it just kind of ruins basketball talk in my opinion.
Hmm.
Like, oh, you're not undefeated in the finals, you're trash. Like that's just not how things are.
But it's such it's such like a nah. I know what you mean, but rings are like like
There's just
every player strives for. Like at
there's
the end of
just so many factors that go into who wins it that it's like a lot of these things are out of your control. So
yeah,
it's injuries, like
injuries. Yeah, I was just gonna say.
how like game winners, like how the ball falls on the rim sometimes, like it's just like
I know
like
what you mean.
if Kawhi didn't hit that game winner against the Sixers, they could have like won it all that year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
That's
just crazy to think about.
yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Speaking of the Sixers, if there's one team in the East that stands a chance against Brooklyn, I'm taking the Sixers. Honestly, I
I
do think
want
they
to.
have a great team.
They do have a solid team, and I agree with you. I mean, I had them in my finals like before the season started. I also think, I mean, there's four teams in the East that I think have a legit chance to make the finals. I'll list them in order. First would be the Nets, if everything goes like health wise, everything goes like accordingly. Second, I might say the Bucks. I might say the Bucks because I feel like they have valuable experience, like as a unit. I mean, they kind of have some new faces too. Thanasis is playing way too much for my liking, so that's not a good sign. So you know what? Let me eliminate that. I think I'm just holding on to like Bucks fandom from last year, even though they screwed me over. But yeah,
Did you
so
see Drew
forget
Holiday?
that. But oh
Drew
yeah, the
Holiday got
Max, yeah,
4.
yeah, yeah.
Jeez, it's a
And
lot.
they got I love the PJ Tucker ad too. That was a great pickup, like no doubt.
Yeah, they
But
have a lot of grit on their team right now.
yeah,
A lot of
so but
gritness.
it's just the other players like at the bottom of that team, like Jordan Nora, who's the other guy? This other guy I don't even know his name, but Thanasis playing way too much. Like I don't know. I think Giannis is really good still, obviously, but I don't think he's gonna win with the Bucks a ring. And he should probably win a ring at some point, but I don't know if that will be with the Bucks. But so yeah,
It's
my
hard
list
to
would be
think.
Nets, Sixers, Celtics. I think the Celtics
Oh, really?
got something going. Yeah, I think they got something going. I think as long as people sleep on them, they can be a serious dark horse. Like no one's really expecting them to like do anything. I feel like so. I mean, they're right there at like the 8 seed in the East. So I'm saying look out for them.
I did
They'll,
not expect you to say that.
no, yeah, the moves they made. I mean, if they didn't make those moves, I probably wouldn't be saying this, or I definitely wouldn't be saying this. But I like the moves they made. I straight up like they shook up the roster in a way that was much needed. They added, they filled up holes that they had in their team. So yeah,
It was one it was one thing to see Danny Ainge make a trade at the deadline because he hasn't done that in like 6 years. So you kind of knew that the
yeah,
Celtics had to do something.
dude, I didn't even know it had been 6 years.
Yeah, I think the last trade was Isaiah Thomas.
That's wild, man. Oh my god. So Trader Danny hasn't even been a legit nickname. People called him that for the longest time, and he hadn't made a move in 6 years.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but like I said, Evan Fournier wasn't like a really crazy household name pickup, but it's the kind of pickup that can help you win games at the end because they've just like struggled like with getting enough scoring at the end of games. Uh,
Exactly.
and one thing I do want to say about the Celtics is a lot of Celtics fans aren't ready for the conversation that Hayward was more meaningful than they think he was. Because
Yeah, yo,
Hayward,
Hayward's been having a career year, bro.
yeah.
A career year.
And with Hayward, we were a
That's
top team in the
wild.
league.
And the Hornets are above the
Yeah,
Celtics.
the
Right?
Hornets are better than the Celtics right now.
That's crazy, bro. Not only are the Nets better than the Celtics, but the freaking Hornets, bro, and the Knicks.
Yeah.
That's why Danny knew he had to trade. He had to make trades because that just couldn't slide. And even the Hawks are better than the Celtics, bro.
Hmm.
That is crazy. Oh my god.
Taking an L in the play-in tournament would be a gigantic L for the
They're
Celtics.
not. They're not. They're not. They can't. I actually would feel bad if they did. I know I've probably been like kind of a Celtics hater, but I got to leave bias out of this. I only do that to I guess, rile people up, but not maybe no one cares. I don't care. But in all honesty, I do think they can still make a run in the playoffs. Eastern Conference, maybe. Eastern Conference Finals, maybe the finals, if everything goes right. Who knows? They might even win the whole thing.
Because their two best players can hang with anybody in the league. And like if Kemba steps up to
Yo,
the occasion,
Jalen, bro.
yeah,
Jalen's a monster.
he's ascended to like an all NBA level. Like he can hang with any wing in the league.
Him and damn, man. You know, an X factor for the Celtics if he can somehow be good, which I don't think he will, but is Nesmith.
Yeah, I mean he's really young, so that's the issue. Is he just doesn't have that experience right now.
Yeah, but then why do you draft people if you're not going to use them right?
Yeah, that's why I was saying that. Like it just feels like we're in a weird place where we have a lot of young guys that we want to develop, but at the same time we want to win now. So it's just like, what's going on? Oh yeah, and Peyton Pritchard is definitely like one of my favorite players on the Celtics, and that's a lot to say because there's a lot of really fun guys on the Celtics. But
He's going to be out of the league soon, I promise you. I promise you, he will be out of the league in a matter of months.
he plays really hard. I mean, I really like how he
bro.
picks guys up
You'll,
like full
you'll
court.
see him. You'll see. Next thing you know, you'll see him signing with a team in Serbia
Oh
with Red Star Belgrade.
No, it really is hard to stay in the league though. Like it really is. So.
No, yeah, it's tough. I'm kind of making fun, but yeah, I seriously don't think he'll be around for that much longer. But I could be wrong.
I like watching him play. Like when he's on the floor, like I'm watching. So hey, I guess he has my support.
That means something. It means something, I guess. I would disagree, but that's just me.
I'm glad Jeff Teague left, honestly.
Yeah, he signed with the Bucks, I'm pretty sure.
He did.
Yeah.
He didn't feel like a Celtic, you know? He just didn't have that Celtic pride.
Yeah, he looked pretty stiff out there.
His body language was pretty bad, honestly.
Yeah. Looked pretty awful. Uh, there's some brutal stretches he had. Um, yeah, it's kind of funny.
It is. He just didn't like when I saw that move. I was like Jeff Teague. I was like, this guy's a Celtic. I didn't
Oh yeah,
imagine.
and Tristan Thompson too. I mean, he's really not good. Like, I feel like I don't know.
He's not as good as I thought he was going to be.
Cornette's definitely better.
Cornette's
Definitely better.
fundamentals. Plus, he has an outside shot, which I was surprised.
That is the key. If he didn't have an outside shot, then I'd take Tristan all day. But it's the shot that like changes things, in
Yeah,
my
I guess
opinion.
the only thing with Cornet is he's like really thin, so that might hurt you against like bigger. Like he can't guard Embiid, so I feel like
Yeah,
Thompson has a better
no
chance.
one, no one could guard Embiid. Not
Oh
even
yeah,
Thompson.
yeah. That's gonna be
Imagine
tough.
Mo
Yeah.
Wagner trying to guard Embiid. Just imagine. Ooh,
Yeah, there really is no one.
Rob though.
Yeah, Bob
I know
actually,
you.
he's setting
Yeah,
records. He had like a 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. It's a crazy game.
he didn't miss once against the Rockets this year. He went like, what was it?
It was like 8 for 8 or
No, no,
nine.
no. Both in for both games. He went
Oh,
like
really? Jeez.
together. Yeah, he went like 17 for 17 from the field or something
Jesus.
against the Rockets. Put up just monster stats.
Yeah, the
But yeah,
Rockets are doing really bad right now. I feel bad for their coach, honestly.
yeah, yeah.
He got thrown
I
into a
mean, you can.
situation. Oh man, a
Yeah,
really bad situation. James
yeah.
Harden leaving town.
They
20 games
should give him
this
leeway.
year.
They should give him leeway. Like they're not. They shouldn't just fire him if the Rockets are tanking. Like I feel like they're tanking on purpose because this upcoming draft class, bro, it's one of the best like ever. Well, yeah, I could say one of the best ever. Like it is gonna be an insane draft this year. So they
Wow.
might just be tanking uh for that reason, which I wouldn't blame them. If they could get Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, I mean Jalen Suggs, it would be wild for any
Yes.
team. So yeah.
Speaking of the new crop of players, like I've seen this debate where people are not sure if we have the new face of the league in the NBA yet. Like we have really good players like Luka, Donovan Mitchell, Zion. But do we have like for 10 years from now? Do we have the face of the league 10 years from now in the league right now?
Could you repeat that?
It's just hard to say if we have the face of the league in the NBA right now. Like when LeBron leaves, like who's going to be the face? Like some people are saying that
I
we
think it's
still have
Zion.
yet to see that person.
I think it's Zion.
Yeah, honestly, Zion's so fun to watch.
I think it's Zion, bro. I think Zion might end up being better than LeBron someday.
He's the new Shaq.
He's Shaq and LeBron. Like
Yeah,
combined.
he's the evolution of Shaq.
Exactly. Like but he handles the ball, he can kind of shoot, like he can lay it up over anyone, through anyone, which LeBron can do. He can cram on anyone, which LeBron or Shaq could do. Like, yeah, man. I think it's Zion for sure. Definitely the face of the league after LeBron. Just because he's also so young. Like, yeah. There's so
Yeah.
much hype around him.
Yeah, I guess so. There's one more thing I want to talk about. I guess we can end it on this. So, how do you feel about like the 3 pointer in today's NBA? Because speaking of Zion, like he's a rare guy that just he eats in the paint and like he rarely takes outside shots. So like it just feels like whoever's winning the 3 point battle is usually going to win the game.
Yeah.
Kind of like not great in my opinion. Like, how do you feel about the 3 pointer in today's league?
I feel like they should maybe push it back. But
Yeah, they might make an adjustment to it in the near future because like it just feels like teams are like having a shoot around sometimes.
You know what the most important thing the NBA I think should do is adopt. I don't know if you say the word or like it's um what's the word? Or it's just like you say the letters, but it's called ELAM ending, Elam ending. Um I'm pretty sure they used it for like the All-Star game. What was it, 2 years ago? When they had the charities and all that
What
and
were they
the
playing to
All-Star
a point total
incredible.
instead of
Yeah, because that would just get rid of like late game fouling, just a ton of these events that like ruin the flow of the game. That's where I think the NBA should go first.
oh
But
yeah.
I that doesn't really relate to the 3 point ordeal, but
No,
like,
that's actually a good point because the intentional fouling at the end of games is so like anticlimactic.
oh my god, bro, it's the worst, bro. It is the absolute worst. Like,
Yeah.
ugh, it ruins the flow. It just you can't enjoy it. I feel like when it's just foul, free throw, foul, free throw. I mean, there have been some crazy endings, obviously, but like for the most part, like fouling is like a form of like gamesmanship, which is just it's not good, you know?
I guess
Like,
their only concern with making like really significant changes like that is it kind of messes up the history books, you know? Because like
but we're evolving like as a
exactly.
species too. We don't have to do the same stuff. Like if you can make it better, make it better. No
Same
point.
thing with reducing the length of the season. Like I think the season should not be 82 games.
Yeah,
Opinion.
I agree. I think that's way too much, but
Leads to injuries. It leads to boredom with fans because it feels like one regular season game doesn't mean anything.
doesn't matter. Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I really don't get it. I mean, for that, I feel like it's more about the money, but for the ways that they can actually affect the games themselves and they can make them better, I think they should do that and do those things. But I'm not in the NBA front office, so it is what it is. But yeah, I can always voice my opinion, I
Like
guess.
I'm complaining about the three and like how much players shoot it, but I can also appreciate like how much players have been like how much they've increased in skill recently. Like you see players doing stuff now that 20 years ago was like a rarity. Like guys like step back from to their right, to their left, like from the 3 point line. It's just pretty crazy in my opinion. So
Uh yeah, it's a completely different game. Not
there's
even
yeah.
recognizable almost. Like it's kind
It's
of
almost
wild.
like again, it comes back to analytics where like three's worth more than two, and players understand that. So like, why should I expend all this effort like driving in if I can just stand out here,
Yeah, man.
shoot a three? Like,
And if things were to go like that, like just things keep going in that direction, games would end up looking like real life 2K. Like when you're playing in like pro am and there's just cheese shooters like just standing there, one in the corner, the other at the hash, another at the hash, another at the corner, and then just iso ball. Like that's the direction things are gonna go. I mean, if you don't if you don't like account for like I guess change like how do I explain
yeah, we're
this?
gonna have to implement something that could kind of put
Yeah,
people away from just shooting threes all day. You know?
yeah, that's where I think pushing the 3 point line back would actually make or would it make a yeah, I feel like it would make a difference in that like aspect cuz literally all people do is shoot threes, so you got to make it harder. Like it shouldn't be that easy to get 3 points instead of 2, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I guess. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that I think that the idea of having the fourth quarter end in a point total rather than like a time limit is it's a good path to explore actually.
I do too. I
It'll
thought
make
it
yeah.
made the All-Star game look like one of the most intense games of all time. So,
Hmm.
I mean, if that and that like evidence in itself, I think goes to show like it would be better if things were that way. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's like my main. change I would make for sure. If I
Yeah,
was
it's always cool to think about how the game's going to evolve, like what the game's going to look like when we're like really old, you know? So
yeah, man. I feel like it'll look not too different like it is now unless literal changes are made to like the court and like the distance and all that. So
I feel
yeah,
like it's inevitable because players are just
it
getting
should
so
be.
good at that.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I feel like that's a good place to leave off because we definitely have more episodes coming up in the near future, and we don't want to give like a super long show. So,
Yep. Feel
um,
that. We
yeah,
have gone on for quite some time now, but it's
yeah,
okay.
that was
You said, what did we say? What did you say? 30 minutes? It's
yeah.
been an hour. It is what it is.
I think 30 minutes is a good sweet spot, but I mean 50, whatever. I mean we
It's
give
not the worst.
fans more content. So.
Yeah, true. True. Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, that was episode 16 of the Blasting Basketballs podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.